Good morning. It is beautiful out here. It's actually like 70s here in Ohio in July. So I thought, what better time to give you guys a tour of our garden space than this morning. It is lovely. I'm going to actually, after this, work in the garden for a while because it is just, there's no humidity. I don't even, yeah. If you live in a humid place, you understand. If not, I don't know how to explain it to you other than the fact that you can walk outside and breathe. So we're gonna go through the garden, just show you guys what it looks like right now. It is coming into that like full overflowing summer garden that I love. I honestly wish it could stay like this the entire summer, but also know that it's like a lot of work. But we're gonna enjoy it and walk through, and I will show you guys kind of what's going on. Also, I apologize about the giant equipment up on the hill. It is loud. Hopefully it doesn't interrupt too much with us going through here. So let's run through the garden and see what is growing in our space. This is an experiment garden. We did not put cardboard and things down like in this space. So it's just row gardens, and then inside the walking paths we have the like just plastic that you can get for landscaping and stuff like that. But it does let water through, but it doesn't let the sunlight through. So it has suppressed all the weeds underneath of it. So my thought is for this, we might actually do an entire large tarp because I do want to like smooth it out basically, because there was a lot of water before we had this big catch basin that came through the garden. And then we also had some times that it just poured and we had so much water go through the garden, and it really, created these like little gullies. So smooth it out. There's nothing perennial in here other than like maybe 3 plants that will just pick up and move, or we might just go around them. But then I want to put down black plastic on the whole thing and basically kill all the weeds, kill all the seeds, and then start over next year, lay the plastic down again, and just start because there's so many weeds all the time. It's insane. Anyways, so we have some volunteer sunflowers that are already blooming. Just stunning. Oh, the red ones. The red ones are my favorite. So in this first row, we have some hollyhock starts. I don't think they're going to stay there because from my reading of hollyhocks, they get huge. There are a bunch of lily tubers in here. So next year, those will actually come up a lot better. And then this is Russian sage. In here are like I can't say the word. The really, really beautiful big lilies. There's a bunch in this space, and another peony that will come up from its tuber. These lilies we did just transplant out of pots. And then there's some more lilies. This is a peony bush, Russian sage. And then this is a rose of Sharon that I just planted this year, which you can't really tell because there's weeds everywhere. So we need to take care of the weeds. I'm getting really tired of them. Then over here we have a blackberry bush that we're gonna have to build some sort of trellising for and help it do its thing. And then in the next row we actually have tiny little baby watermelons. So what we did is we just put watermelon plants in here, but we have some little baby ones right there. And then this row has all different varieties of red sunflowers. So I'm kind of just like, we're just training the sunflower or the melon plants to kind of stay in here. I'm fine if they kind of go everywhere. The next row is sunflowers as well, and flowers, so they can go down there and help suppress weeds. So that is what is in this row. Then like here, like you can kind of tell like when we walk, it's really uneven. And so we really want to smooth that out. Next row, we have the yellow sunflower varieties. So I just planted a bunch of different yellow varieties. And so those are gonna come up after, some of my volunteer ones came up. And so these will be blooming then, which is super exciting. This is amaranth. So I think this is burgundy something. And then this one is the Love Lies Bleeding. So these are actually going to be like really pretty long pieces of amaranth, really pretty. And then we just have a bunch of like kind of filler flower to cut from. So we have celosia, all different kinds of celosia. And then that one right there is super pretty. That's more of the leaf versus like these right here are more of the plumes that come up out of the top. And then in this row we have, I did buy some dahlia plants. Let me just jump over here amongst all the weeds and our weed piles. But these dahlias they're stunning. They're so pretty. Just a really, really pretty reddish, turns into kind of a pink color. And then in here there is another dahlia, and here there are some little baby ones that are coming out. These are sea hollies, which are perennial, and they get kind of like a spiky kind of flower looking. This is from last year that I planted. There's kind of just some random ones. All of our potatoes are ready to harvest, so that's super exciting. So basically this entire row right here is all potatoes, and so those are ready to harvest. Down this row we have Gomphrena, Lisianthus. This is a perennial salvia. It is huge. I love it. I'm gonna actually pull it out and put it at the end of the row. I really like that it comes up early. The pollinators love it. And then the next row is actually peppers. So we had so many extra starts that we just decided, you know what, we're just gonna plant an entire row of peppers, and then we'll like sell the rest of them, or however, I don't know what will happen with them, but we'll definitely make use of them. And then we have a beautiful bank of zinnias. I love zinnias. I'll probably do more rows of them next year. I absolutely adore them. The colors, they're so different. I want to save seeds again this year and just plant them again and again and again. So I do have some of the floret varieties, and we did mark them, so there are a bunch that I'll probably save seed from, but they're just a bunch of pretty colors. Another beautiful sunflower just smiling at the end. And then we have another one. These are all volunteer ones that came from just seeds from last year. In this row we have brassicas, but I planted them late, so I don't know what they're gonna do. We'll see how they do. And then just a bunch of volunteer flowers from calendula, cosmos, grasses. This one has a bunch of celosia from last year, cosmo plants. I believe this is a marigold, which is insane because it's huge. We had poppies come up. So like here we have basically just a bunch of these little pockets that have seeds in them, which they're wet right now, so kind of hard to get them out. But these have like, I don't know if you can see that. There are so many tiny black seeds, and I'm kind of just trying to spread them everywhere. And then we have just massive cosmos. An entire row of tomatoes that we had just extra plants. And then down here we have marigolds trying to overtake our strawberry row, but this is all strawberries, June bearing and ever bearing. Then on this side we have our more cottagey field garden and tomatoes in this big box space. So through here, these are all determinate style that are kind of in the middle on these panels here. And then on the other ones, we have our big like indeterminates. Oh, this is so exciting. Oh, they're actually doing really well. I will not put these in the middle again. I feel like it's not enough. It's not enough breathing space for the tomatoes. So we did learn our lesson there. And then these, we're just kind of training up the arbors. They're both indeterminate style. So we are just training them to go up. They're kind of like cherry varieties. Here we have cucamelon volunteers, which of course, because I can't plant cucamelon and it survive, it just likes to come up on its own. Here we have a bunch of little clusters of tomatoes growing. But yeah, so that corner basically is all tomatoes. Over there, some volunteer cosmos. And then we have basil plants. that are growing actually really, really well. I wasn't sure how they would do when we first planted them, but they're actually doing really well. So we're gonna harvest some basil probably soon and dry it so that we have it for the winter time. But these are just beautiful. Let me put it in the sun. Ah, so pretty. I love how they kind of dance. This whole bed is onions that we started, and then we started beans right here, there, and there. So these are gonna go up over the arbors and then just keep climbing. We have sweet alyssum. My mom had a really good idea of planting these in the little pathways. So looks like that when you walk through, and these will seed themselves. So we'll have alyssum plants next year, which will be great. We have entire row of peppers there, and then this bed is peppers, and then on the outsides of the zinnias are peppers as well. So we have a bunch of beautiful colors of zinnias over here. This one is probably going to be one of my favorites. Super pretty, tiny little one in there, but just stunning colors. So we have those in the middle, and then the peppers are on the outsides of those, which we do have quite a bit of peppers that have set and are growing. So we'll be able to do a pretty good harvest soon and get those peppers used. Then we have basil in the middle of these. It just did really well last year, so we did it again. But you can kind of see, like, this is a basil plant. So in the middle of the peppers, we did like zigzagged of basil plants. And then this whole back border here is all perennials. So, oh, do we have a hibiscus flower? This is a hibiscus. I have one behind the house and one here, and it is just getting ready to pop open. Oh, this is gonna be so pretty. I couldn't remember what color it was, and it was either like a reddish color or pink, and I'm really glad because it is a pink color. I think it's gonna look beautiful with the other plants that I put in here. And then we have milkweed. We just let it go. We'll see. I'm kind of hoping that it brings like some butterflies or whatever to our garden, but we shall see. And then we just planted these. So these are called Gaillardia, and there were 2 different colors. Found a really great place that had sale on a bunch of perennials. So this one's more like a reddish yellow. Then we have a sage plant, a little grass. Can't remember what this stuff is, but this mirrors on this side. So they look cohesive. Eventually we're gonna have a fence here that's permanent, that has a gate here, and then it'll just finish the look of it. But we have echinacea. I found these really pretty coneflower colors. The bees love them. These shooting stars. And then I believe this is Veronica, if I'm not mistaken. But we have a similar mix over here. Volunteer bean plant, and then another coneflower echinacea over there. This entire row I love. This is all lavender and roses. So all of the roses that are in here are David Austin. I finally, like I said in previous videos, I finally just decided I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna buy them, and I'm so glad I did because they're fantastic. This is the second year that they've been in here, and they've really put on some size. This one I'm not sure though. Not sure how that one's gonna do. I don't know. It did like one long shoot last year, but that was kind of it. But the bees are just loving this lavender, and I love it because the lavender in my front row is a different variety or something, because it blooms sooner than these do, which is super nice because then you have a nice blush. And then, you know, this whole side has a flush of just new blooms. But oh, just so pretty. So pretty. Smells so good. Anyways, so yeah, here's another David Austin. And then here, this space is reserved for a climber, because I do want to put like an arbor here If I back up, you can kind of see where I mean. So there's a little space of grass that comes in. I do want to put an arbor there and actually put a climber rose on there. And then on this bed, we have zinnias, volunteer bean plants that have come up everywhere. And then we have nasturtium, borage, and yeah, just a lot of lovely, lovely colors of zinnias in here. Some volunteer celosia. This bed has so much volunteer celosia. I left some of it because I was like, yeah, that's fine. And then we have a beautiful zinnia over here. This one, we planted sunflowers. So these are going to be blooming soon, which is super exciting. And I forgot to mention our giant sunflower. I'll actually go over there because I missed that bed. But we have chives right here. So chive plant, and right there as well. These are all daisies. I don't know if they're actually going to bloom. They like take forever and have this amazing flush of green, and then just feels like they're never going to bloom. I don't know. Zinnia plant. This is also a climbing rose space, so we're going to have that match the other side over there. And then these are all proven winners. So this is a white bush variety. And then these are the At Last. I think these are called Reminiscent. Yeah, Reminiscent. They're like a white. And then this one is the At Last. They're kind of a corally pink color. So those are really pretty right there. Might add some more lavender plants in there to match. But another David Austin. This one you can see the color of. Really pretty. Amazing smell. And then this one's more of a orangey, creamy color. So like this lavender on this side, this is now pushing its second flush of flowers. So I do want to come in and trim it a little bit, but I'm not sure what this is. We'll probably take it out. We're thinking it's some sort of milkweed. Not sure. But I also don't want seed from that going everywhere. So, oh, we got one almost ready. All right, let me squish through here and get to that other side. So on this side, we have cucumbers that we're trying to train up this arbor, and a lot of volunteer borage, some zinnias that we planted in this bed, really pretty colors. And then, like I said, we have the beans over here that are growing up. These are actually purple, and then the other two are both green beans. This is where the garlic came out of, so we'll probably do some sort of fall crop like beets or carrots or something. In there we have cabbages and volunteer cucamelon. But yeah, we need to get in there and clean some of that out. They are actually forming pretty well, so I think they might do something. We'll see if they don't just shoot up. And then this back row here, we just planted extra tomatoes. The peas were in here, so it was kind of perfect because the tomatoes were still small. And so now they can, climb up these green trellis A-frames. And then we have some dill that seeded itself, which I think it came out of my green stalks. And then we have this massive sunflower that decided that is where it wanted to be. So that is where it was left. It is huge. I took a picture of Viviana standing beside it. It is massive. It is massive, but it's so pretty. Ah, lovely. But yeah, that's basically these two gardens and everything that's growing right now down here. We do have some spaces that, like the potato row, is going to become available soon as well. And then, yeah, so behind the garden, we have the herb beds, which are insane right now. They have grown and flowered and all the things. So there's those back there and the asparagus bed behind the house. But yeah, that's basically it. And then everything else is our flower beds just around the house and things like that. But I did want to show you guys how the garden down here is looking here in July. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. We have some things that we'll probably move around yet and plant for fall, but it's been really fun. I've been able to do a lot of cut flowers, so I've been trying to do a lot of bouquets and just use the flowers that are coming in because it's lovely. Anyways, that is going to be it for this video. I just wanted to show you guys what the garden's looking like here in July. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.